All right. Well, good evening and welcome everyone to the September 27th Social Justice Task Force meeting. This will be the last for this stint, at least. Very excited to talk through the recommendations. So let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. All right. In terms of reading out the land, Daniel, do you want to go ahead and read that?
Sure. The West Hollywood Social Justice Task Force acknowledges that the land on which we gather and that is currently known as the City of West Hollywood is the occupied, unceded, seized territory of the Gabrielino Tongva and Gabrielino Quiche people. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, who do we have on it? Giselle, will you go ahead and read the, or do you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
I should say chair, I should say task force member.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Very well done. All right.
Absolutely. Chair Wilson.
Here.
Vice Chair Zamilpa.
Here.
Task Force Member Smith.
Here.
Task Force Member Sephiroth.
Here.
Task Force Member Morton.
Here.
Task Force Member Washington.
Here.
Task Force Member Aviles.
Here.
Task Force Member Desai.
Here.
And I thought I saw Shayla, but maybe not. Maybe she'll jump back on too. We have a quorum though.
Great. Excellent. In terms of approval of the minutes, do we want to move on to that? Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes, Zamilpa.
I second this, Aviles.
Thank you. Jasmine, can you take the vote, please?
Yes. Chair Wilson.
Aye.
Vice Chair Zamilpa.
Aye.
Task Force Member Smith.
Aye.
Task Force Member Sephiroth.
Aye.
Aye.
Task Force Member Aviles.
Aye.
And Task Force Member Desai.
Aye.
Chair, I believe Task Force Member Demir has just logged on. Just wanted to notate that for the minutes.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. In terms of public comment, let's move on to the public comment side. So this time is set aside for public comment. The public is given the opportunity to address the Social Justice Task Force on any item within its responsibility. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the Social Justice Task Force cannot take action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Each speaker will be allotted 2 minutes, and time may be limited or increased based on the discretion of the task force. The public comment period is to address the Social Justice Task Force on agenda items and or items of general interest within the jurisdiction of the Social Justice Task Force. If there's anybody who didn't sign up to speak and wish to provide comment, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. Do we have any people that wish to speak, Jasmine?
I didn't get any requests in advance of the meeting, but it looks like Victor is interested in speaking. Victor, you have 2 minutes.
Good evening, task force members. My name is Victor Omolchenko. Let me see if I can get my video on here. I'm a longtime West Hollywood resident, and I'm a former public facilities commissioner, and I want to thank you for your work on behalf of social justice. I was able to sit on 1 or 2 of your meetings in the past year, and I know you've had a full slew of meetings. So I have a general public comment. I just heard about this, and I'm going to be fascinated to see if any of you can maybe fill me in. Maybe city staff can, or maybe one of the members of the task force can fill me in on the results of this weekend reparations conference that was held in South LA. It was in South LA this past Friday, and California is the first in the nation to have a task force looking on reparations related to slavery. Now, I know that might not be in your specific purview of this task force, but the issue of social justice does include that topic. So I have limited information on that. I was clued into it just a bit ago. So it was a meeting, a two-day meeting where the public, like you folks, like us, could have had a chance to speak about reparations and social justice. So I'd love to hear maybe a report from anybody who attended when you talk in your public comments, or if city staff has any information, or maybe some of the city council candidates have information, because it seems like it was a very, very important meeting that did not have a lot of participation or public comment. And it was about, I believe, reparations, but related to the history of slavery, the 1800s. So look forward to learning from you what you know.
Well, thank you for that. I don't believe that's in the scope of our agenda to talk through that. However, I will turn it over to city staff if they have anything they want to say.
Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks, Victor. Unfortunately, this is my first time hearing about that meeting. If I can get more information about it, I definitely have your contact information, so I can share it with you. Technically, it does sound like it is outside of the scope of the City of West Hollywood Social Justice Task Force, simply because they're tasked with coming up with policy recommendations for the City of West Hollywood specifically. But if I find out more information, I'll be sure to reach out.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for the awareness. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? All right, well, Jasmine, do you want to lead us in the review and providing feedback? By the way, I mean, I read the report. I don't know if I don't have any meaningful feedback, so I thought it was good. That was my impression. I think it represented a lot of things that we had talked about. Is there anybody else who wants to make comment or make adjustments?
Yeah, I was just going to suggest I can share my screen too. So if people do have specific comments, we can all view it and look at it in real time together. But it's probably best to just open up the floor, just like the chair said. If you did have any comments, the floor is yours.
Not any notes on my end. I did just want to thank city staff for putting this together. I think it looks great. It's, went through everything that we've discussed for the last year and a half, which is crazy that we're here. Yeah, I think my only question is, I know we had talked about, a couple things here and there of like, there might be additional information that might be included as part of the report. I know that there were some sections specifically within public safety that were included. So I felt like, at least on our end, for me, that was, but wanted to also hear from housing and homelessness and social services, as well as the economic community development, if like that additional information, like subnotes, felt like it was enough.
Yeah, I mean, so I believe that from our end, it represented what we had talked about. We've already provided examples. The one piece that there was that clause that was buried in the document that said the city attorney may adjust some things, or indicated that would be the case. That was my only question mark around that, was to what degree would our recommendations be changed by the city attorney? Because we've asked all the questions.
So technically, when the city attorney, Lauren Langer, attended the Social Justice Task Force meeting, context around one specific recommendation, I believe it was for the Economic and Community Development Subcommittee. So before any of the recommendations are implemented. And I believe this is how it works for all bodies for the city. The city attorney has to view them and just make sure that the city isn't putting itself in a uncompromising position, or making sure that the recommendations that will be implemented are consistent with city policy.
The reason I ask that is because we've gone through several iterations, and so technically there's been months for the city attorney to is maybe, you know, why is it being done after we finalize? Is it as opposed to maybe during some of the other months?
Chair, this is a task force member. I thought they said that they were going to go ahead and bring it back to us, or we asked if we can go ahead and be participatory within the process once it goes to them. But I don't know if that's something that they actually said yes to or no to.
So I actually see both of my bosses, their hands are up. So I think I saw Andy's hand up first. So Andy, feel free.
So I'll start and Yvonne can jump in. Basically, this is how it works. So even if a council member has an initiative that they want to bring forward, they bring it to council, they kind of get the council members buy-in. And then if it's approved by at least 3 members, then it goes to the city attorney for the city attorney's review, and then it comes back to the city council. So we we can't really direct the city attorney to do in-depth evaluation until it's approved by the city council. So the city attorney has not reviewed your recommendations at this point, but we also don't want to have your recommendations be edited. We want you all to have kind of the freedom at this point to provide what you think should be the recommendation. And then if those need to be changed based on something else that the city attorney finds that something isn't possible or something needs to be changed slightly, then that would be reviewed after the city council kind of gives that initial direction. So that's why they haven't been in depth. The analysis hasn't been an in-depth analysis at this point by the city attorney, and that's how it works for all of the council directives.
Yes. That's great clarification. I just had no idea what the process was. And you know, it does make sense that if they had to look at everything before it went to approval, it probably would be a very intense job. In Task Force Member Avalos, I believe you have additional comment or question.
You're muted.
I think Daniel had his hand up first.
Right. Well,
You can go first.
Sorry, I didn't notice that first. So Task Force Member Vice Chair Zamilpa, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I guess my question, just knowing that in that process of something city council puts forward, a city council member would bring it forward, it would go to city council. If it gets approved, then it would go to the city attorney, and then it would go back just in case to city councils, knowing that we are sadly not an organization after today's meeting. And I know we included recommendation at the end of the document to put together an organization that, you know, kind of sees these through. What typically is that time frame? And like, you know, if it's something, I don't know, you know, if this goes to city council next month, how quickly after that would there need to be a rebounding body, so to speak, of like people who would then sort of see this through?
Well, once you give these recommendations to the city council, whatever the city council decides to approve will be part of staff's work plan. So it won't necessarily be the responsibility of a body such as this to ensure that those move forward. So even if decided to approve all of the other recommendations, then those recommendations would be reviewed by the city attorney and then part of staff's work plan to see them forward. So, you know, that the city attorney review would really depend on what the item is. You know, I think some of them don't need much review. So if she looks at the list and says, really, the only ones that need to be reviewed are recommendation 1 and 7, then the rest can kind of move forward. And then, depending on what kind of evaluation she needs to do, it may take a few months, but that's kind of the anticipated next steps at this point.
Great. Thank you.
And Task Force Member Avalos, I believe you had your hand up earlier. Do you still have a question?
No, I think it's been answered. Thank you.
Okay. Great. So any additional comments from? So I believe, Victor, that you will have a chance to speak later on in the second public forum. But for now, if you want to put your hand down, and then we can put it back up at that time.
Okay, Chair. So when I have comments related to this specific report that I did take time to review, it's not to be heard under this item. It's relegated to the last public comment. Is that correct?
Exactly.
He can actually
Oh, okay.
if it's directly related to this item, he can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
We usually don't have that many folks who come to speak on particular items, but feel free, Victor.
Well, okay. Well, I was looking through the report, and Yvonne Quark, well, I know some of you people on this board. I hope to meet more of you in the future. I did read the report, and at this last date, it's regarding your fine section on the housing and the homelessness. You talked about the Holloway Motor Hotel, which is going to be like the home key program. And then you talked about additional rental assistance as a recommendation. If I were on the task force, and I think there's still time that you can talk to city staff or to your council members who appointed you, or when this is done, but I would like to see a recommendation that the city implement an already existing law that was passed 5 years ago regarding the 1-for-1 replacement of rent stabilized units that are lost when folks are evicted from their apartments. The developer tears down the building, builds a new luxury apartment or condo building, but is only 20% of the rent stabilized, or what we call affordable. This law has been in existence for 5 years now. During the past 10 years, we're talking about keeping people in their homes. We have lost 1,000 rent stabilized units to developers who, yes, give the relocation expenses to the people that they evict. And those who are lucky enough may be able to get into what is called inclusionary housing, affordable housing, but it never replaces the units that were lost. Therefore, if we want to, for social equity and not have increased homelessness, I believe it's very important to get our city to implement the state law that allows cities to require developers to replace torn down rent stabilized units with an equal number, but they can also build the market rate and the luxury apartments, but they must replace 1-for-1 what they're taking away from us. So if I were you, and maybe it's too late to get it into these recommendations, but I think it would have the force of you as a body that was formed by our council, and it would bring to bear the fact that why have we dawdled on implementing this rule? Is this because the developers don't want to put in more affordable housing and make their money kicking people out and then giving a couple of measly affordable units? If 1,000 affordable rent stabilized were lost over the last decade and 1,000 new ones were built, we only got back 20% or 200 affordable units, but we lost 800 units that rent stabilized people were living in. So I'm sorry I wasn't at your meeting when maybe you discussed this, but maybe Andy Lavano or Yvonne Quark or the other city staff members can tell us, is there anything being done to implement that new state law? We cannot continue to lose affordable housing. But thank you for the recommendations that you did put under the Housing and Homelessness Fine Report. Thank you.
Thank you for your passion. Jasmine, Jasmine or Andy or Yvonne?
Yeah, so at this time, I probably have to research the specific bill that Victor is referring to. And either, just because this is our last meeting, I can still send you all information. So if that is something that you all are interested in incorporating into the recommendations, it's probably best that we have that conversation, draft that language tonight. Or if you all trust staff enough, based on Victor's comments and any future comments you might have, we can also incorporate that either as a recommendation or in the background of the report, if that's the will of the task force.
I'm going to actually ask our task force that was focused on housing, health, and homelessness. Does anybody from that subcommittee want to speak up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I think it sounds great. I'm personally not familiar with it, so I would have to do research, but I'm definitely not opposed to it. I think it's a great idea.
Is there a way to, Jasmine, maybe you can make mention of it, not make it a formal recommendation per se, but just remind them that there are some existing areas that need further implementation?
Yes.
And so, that would put that as an example, because I mean, without researching, what Victor said sounds reasonable. All right, Task Force Member Washington, do you want to say something as well?
Yes, Chair Wilson, I'm on board with you. Recommendation 4 addresses like rental assistance, so I think that could be a sub point, or just kind of like some background as to what exists. I'm not familiar with the bill either, but how to keep affordable housing at the forefront.
Right.
Yeah. The same me, Young, agree with that recommendation. Well, we didn't have any information as that. We didn't know anything about the bill, but I think it's something that the city need, because we losing too many neighbors. We need to stop that. You know, we need to keep West Hollywood with the same face that we used to have for many years.
Yeah, thank you. And then Task Force Member Avalos, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just real quick. So what Victor was talking about, the 1-for-1 that does exist, there was something within the city that was taking place. I think if Andy's still on the line, I don't know if she still is, she could probably speak to it, because I think it was within her tenure, but years ago.
Yeah, so I could jump in. Sorry, I didn't earlier because I was kind of trying to find the latest information, but I know that there's been a few things about it. So I don't have the latest information. I know that our planning staff is already on top of it, and I just don't know if the ordinance has already gone through or not. But I think there have been discussions at the Planning Commission and the Rent Stabilization Commission already. So what I would suggest, kind of what a couple of you have already said, is that we add some information in that kind of background, the Housing and Homelessness Subcommittee at the top, to just say, you know, another key component is the maintenance of existing rent stabilized units and affordable housing units throughout the city. And part of that is implementation of the no net loss ordinances that have, and obviously that language will need to be worked on once we figure out exactly what the status is. But if you all are comfortable with that, I would say maybe make that motion and direction now, and then we can work with our colleagues in planning to make sure we have the correct and updated information on that.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that city staff has the authorization to include some background around the about the zero net loss rent stabilization aspects and where that stands, and also by including that within our recommendation. Within our recommendation packet to the council.
So to be clear, included in the background of the recommend. Okay.
This is Task Force Member Aviles, and I second that.
Great. I'll take roll. Chair Wilson.
Aye.
Vice Chair Zamilpa.
Aye.
Task Force Member Smith.
Aye.
Task Force Member Sephiroth.
Aye.
Task Force Member Morton.
Aye.
Task Force Member Washington.
Aye.
Task Force Member.
Aye.
Task Force Member Desai.
Aye.
Task Force Member Demir.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Great. That was a great ad. Are there additional comments related to the recommendation packet that we received in our folders for today? All right. So then, do you want to move on to items from the task force members, or did you have something you wanted to do to close that out, Jasmine? Should we vote on the final report, or are we comfortable with moving on to the next item?
I think that's probably a good idea, just so that way we have it solidified in the minutes. And the only other thing I would say is if you all do, for whatever reason, have comments or edits after the meeting, as long as you can get that to me by the end of this week, we can make sure it's incorporated into the report as well. And I won't incorporate anything without copying all of the members, just so that way everyone's aware. But yeah, if someone wants to make a motion to
Okay.
I do have one quick question. Just as far as the process in which it's presented to City Council, can you walk us through what that looks like? Will they be receiving this in advance of that meeting? Will there be somebody from city staff walking them through the document? How does that work?
Yeah, so council receives their packets in advance of the council meeting, and lucky for them, their packets are a lot larger than yours are, so they need that time to review the staff reports and the corresponding attachments. So they'll have time to digest the report, come up with questions or follow up for staff, but we will be there. Community and Legislative Affairs staff will be there. We'll be there to kind of walk them through the report, walk them through all the work that you all have done, and then provide additional information if they have questions.
Perfect. And then can you confirm what the date of that meeting is?
October 17th.
Okay, perfect.
And I'll send an email to everyone too, just to remind you all.
Amazing. Yeah, I think it'd be nice if we all went.
Oh yeah, definitely planning on going. Is anybody else planning on attending? It sounds like you are.
Yes.
Great. We'll be there in full force.
And bring all your friends.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Good.
No.
All right. With that said, motion to pass the final report full of recommendations and background for the city council on behalf of the Social Justice Task Force.
Second, Zanelpa.
Jasmine, let's take roll. Yeah.
Yes. Chair Wilson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Zamopa,
Aye.
Task Force Member Smith,
Aye.
Task Force Member Separok,
Aye.
Task Force Member Morton,
Aye.
Task Force Member Washington, Task Force Member Washington,
Aye.
Task Force Member Aviles,
Aye.
Task Force Member Desai,
Aye.
and Task Force Member Demir. I heard you, I think. Motion passes.
That's great. All right. Then moving on to the next item, items from the task force members. At this time, why did I hear an echo? I don't know why. At this time, though, I'd like to hear from any items that the task force members want to bring forth.
Actually, Chair, I added this item in because it is the last meeting in case there were final comments or things that task force members wanted to share. This is the opportunity and space for them to do so.
Well, I just kick it off. I'd like to say thank you. I definitely think it's been great to get to know everybody on the task force, as well as I appreciate the staff for putting up with us. I know that we've had some back and forth and they've had to do a lot of work, and I think it's, it doesn't go unnoticed, and it goes with a great amount of appreciation. So I just wanted to say that for closing it out. I'm excited to be sitting there in solidarity with all of you on October 17th. So
I echo that. Thank you for dealing with our millions of questions and a million different scenarios, because I think I've really appreciated all of our diverse backgrounds, not just as people, but also just from different industries and different experiences of being a governing body. So thank you. But I did want to note on that, seeing that we're actually, I guess, able to be a group like outside of this now, like I would love to get dinner. I would love to hang out finally, officially. So Jasmine, if you're able to pass like all of our contact information along, at least you have my permission to pass mine along. I would love that.
yeah. Is there anybody that would like to opt out of having that information shared?
How about this? Not to put anyone on the spot, because that could be kind of awkward if you did want to opt out.
Fair enough.
I will send an email after the meeting, and then you can just reply directly to me if you're not interested. I don't know if that's easier, but
that's probably right. All right, with that said, I think Task Force Member Smith, you had something you wanted to say?
I just wanted to say it was an honor to be a part of history for the city of West Hollywood. I'm a proud resident, and to see what we've been able to do, and over the last, God, it feels long, it's shorter than 2 years, but just I'm very honored. I appreciate staff, Jasmine, Andy, Diane. Just thank you so much, Chair Wilson, Vice Chair Zamopa, Kripa. Thank you all so much. It's like I said, like Daniel said, we need to get together afterwards. There's so much more work to be done, and we can do it even not on this level if we put our heads together. So thank you all.
I like that. Thank you for your comments. Task Force Member Aviles.
Thank you, everyone. This to me is such it's kind of a really bittersweet moment, just because it's kind of like the end of something, but the beginning of a much greater movement. And when I moved into the city in 2007, there was none of this. There was diversity and inclusion didn't exist. And that was my whole thing, was we need that in the city. And to now be a part of a group of cohorts who see that takes my breath away. So I want to thank each and every one of you for contributing to what we're doing and to legit changing the face of West Hollywood, because this is just the beginning. And then it's a matter of holding everyone accountable at City Hall, including our members, including, staff. I know I love you guys, but like still. And I would like to again thank Jasmine for all your hard work and communication and diligence through this whole entire process and patience. So thank you so much for providing that leadership to every one of us. And to the rest of the staff, thank you for your time as well. To my cohorts, you guys are awesome. Yes, please give my information out, Jasmine. To everybody, I would like to continue this conversation. And again, this isn't the end. This is just the beginning, and this is just a very small fraction of it. So onward and upward, and to, let's do it. Let's change some stuff.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else want to make additional comments?
Well, the same for me, this was a great experience. And we are a group of, leaders of the community. I think that we can still, supporting or people in the city council. We are here to try to find the right people to be in the front of those chairs. Whoever is going to do a change for the city, for minorities, and do something for the world, because West Hollywood is always a step ahead of other cities. Other cities are copying West Hollywood. So I'm very proud to live in the city. I'm very proud of this group of people. So, really thank you, everyone. I learned a little bit from any one of you guys. And yeah, I'm down to have some fun, go out, meet, and we have to do it.
Great. Sounds like a next order of the agenda. Task Force Member Washington.
Yeah, I want to echo what has been said. A huge thank you to the city staff, to my fellow task force members. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to miss y'all. And we had a lot of great conversations, a lot of great ideas, and it was a pleasure to take part of this all. So.
First ever. And Task Member Desai, you had your hand up.
I did. At the risk of being repetitive, I don't think gratitude can be overstated. I am super grateful to know each of you exists in the world and in my community. And so absolutely echo the desires to keep connections up and keep doing the collective work. I apologize for me being a little bit low energy on the East Coast after a lot of travel woes. And I'm traveling for work, but for the Congressional Black Caucus legislative session, which promises to be a great couple of days. And I just really appreciate, I'm happy to bring back. And I'm not going to be there on the 7th. I was just putting it together. I'm traveling again for work on the 17th, so won't be there. So especially really want to stay connected and keep conversations up after that. If I can join remotely, I don't know if that's a possibility, but I would try to do that. Yeah, just a lot of gratitude. I have many things that I want to follow up with each of you on. So I hope we get that contact information soon because it's already on my mind. More to share. Thank you. And oh, sorry. Oh my God. Staff, thank you. Each one of you has contributed so meaningfully in so many different ways. As folks have said, I just have a lot of appreciation for the work that you do and your commitment and dedication to our city. Yeah, we wouldn't be here without you. And you're going to keep on without us. So thank you again.
Your light always shines through. It's awesome. Thank you. Task Force Member Morton, do you want to make a few comments?
Hi, everyone. I'd like to say thank you to staff. I, like Krupa, am 10 hours ahead of you at the moment. So I'm tired, but I'm in a country that doesn't care about anyone's rights. So I'm especially grateful for the task force at the moment. I can't wait to get back. I will see you on the 17th. I've learned from each of you, all of our passionate talks and whatnot. They've been amazing, and I've loved working with each of you. I will miss you, but it is not the last you will see of me, nor I of you all. And I hope we can get sick of each other in the future. So yeah.
Great. Good. Well, thank you, everyone. Yep. All right. So, Task Force Member Demure, if you want to make additional comments.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to everyone involved. The staff at WeHo is just awesome. And to the cohort, I always fall in love with spaces when I get to gather with folks who are intentional with what the cause is for. And so I've been really excited when I've been able to chime into this group. So really thankful for the experience, and I hope to see you all on the 17th.
Sounds great. Good. That was a very warm. The next item that's up is for the second period of public commentary. And I'll just go ahead and say, this time is set aside for public comment that could not be heard under the public comment item at the beginning of the meeting. The public is given the opportunity to address the Social Justice Task Force on any item within its responsibility. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the Social Justice Task Force cannot take action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Each speaker will be allotted 2 minutes, and time may be limited or increased based on the discretion of the task force. The public comment period is to address the Social Justice Task Force on agenda items and/or items of general interest within the jurisdiction of the Social Justice Task Force. Is there anyone who wishes to speak that's currently on the Zoom call during this public period? Well, all right.
Chair, we did move past agenda item 8, items from staff. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of you. You had a lot of work on your hands, and it wasn't easy. And I think in all of the moments and conversations I've had with all of you, I've learned a lot, and it's really been a pleasure. So thank you all. I appreciate it. You were a great group to work with.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any?
And thank you, Diane. I know Diane's on the call, so thank you, Diane, for your leadership as well. It was definitely very appreciated.
It was not intentional to move past the items from staff. I apologize for that. Is there anything else that staff would like to say? By the way, can I add in a thank you to Diane also? So I just want to say I didn't include that, but thank you, Diane. You were very instrumental in this whole thing. So
I have to jump in before we go to. I just wanted to say thank you to Jasmine for all the amazing work that you did, for helping to lead this effort. Thank you to the chair and co-chair for stepping up and for your leadership in these meetings and outside. And I think that all of you have been involved in the city of West Hollywood in various ways, but I think this group has been something really new for the city and needed. And so I appreciate you all for stepping up to this challenge and for providing so much valuable information. I also just want to say that I really appreciated the way that you all collaborated during these meetings and worked together and supported each other, and really just kind of like built on each other's comments and feedback in a really positive and supportive way. And I think that was a really great example for a lot of what the city does. So I appreciate you all, and thank you for everything that you've done for the city. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll just jump in at the end to say, I'll echo what a lot of people have said. First of all, thanks to Jasmine. You did a great job with this task force. It was something new
for the department, for the city, for the task force members, and you helped guide them through all of the conversations along with Diane, working closely with Diane. So thank you so much, Diane. Thank you for your leadership in helping put the thoughtful conversations and the intentional recommendations into a document, which is sometimes hard to do, but still have feeling behind it. I really enjoyed being a part of these meetings and being part of your process. Thank you to Andy as well for her leadership and being the manager of this division that took this on. And finally, but definitely not least, thank you to the task force members. You all had a lot on your plate to sift through. You received so many presentations. Just looking at the report, it was a lot. And I don't know if you all realize that, but sometimes when you see it on paper, it was a lot. And all of those subcommittee meetings and then trying to wade through that. And one last thing I'd like to say, I've been with the city for a long time. I won't say how many years. I started when I was 10. No, I'm kidding. I've been with the city for a long time, and I've been to a lot of commission and advisory board meetings. And a long time ago, we had a project area committee, which was the PAC, and that was a 35-member body. And I was the liaison to that. But when you are a body and you don't have a lot of members of the public that come to your meetings, sometimes that makes people feel some type of way. A lot of times they maybe don't take it seriously, or they don't think that it's, something that should be moving forward. But I appreciate you all. We didn't get a lot of people that came to these meetings. And I think, there's some good and there's some bad to that. I think when we needed to have some input and public comment, we got it. But when we really needed to just have this group talk and flesh things out, that was great too. So I think, what we had was what we were supposed to have. And out of that came a great report and great recommendation. So thank you for everything that you have done, and we'll be seeing you around.
It's good. Great. Thank everyone for their comments. I'm stumbling over my words because I don't want to go to the next agenda item. I don't want to do it. But I will have to say at this time, it looks like we are going to adjourn until the next time we see each other, and it won't be in an official capacity. So that means we can have all sorts of vibes and fun. Anyways, thank you. Appreciate everyone.
Thanks,
Have a good
everyone.
night, everyone.